Hey everyone, and welcome to the Phillip Show. Here, first of all, I'm a musician, so I always enjoy speaking to other musicians, other creatives, because there's so much to learn and get inspired from and get energized from. And today is literally gonna be no different. One of the things that I love about the Phillip Show is that we highlight like unique perspective, personalities, unique thought processes, all of these things, but also unique music. So here to join me today, we have Caleab and we have Erica of Yikes A Band. Hey.
Hi.
Hello.
How are you doing today?
Fantastic.
Pretty good.
How are you?
So I'm doing pretty great over here. We got, some sun and, today's awesome. But here to talk about music. You all have been doing music for, how long have you been doing music together? Let's start there.
Together, 2015. So was that 7 years?
Mm-hmm.
I'm playing together for 7 years.
7 years. And what got you started? Erica, I'll start with you. How did you start with music?
As a child, I just did like regular school music stuff, and I always loved music, but I didn't really play anything as an adult besides just goofing off.
Okay.
And when Caleab and I got together at the very end of 2008, he immediately was like, "Oh, I want to have a family band. We're going to play together someday." And I was like, I don't know.
Okay. So wait, so let me pause there. So when you said you and Caleab got together, what is together?
Romantically.
Dating.
Okay. All right. So now you have a band together. You didn't think you were kind of like, I don't know. But then all of a sudden here we are.
Yes.
Yep.
Oh, wow. Caleab, how did you get started in music? What was it that was just kind of like music is my thing?
Well, I have 3 older brothers, and they all play music to varying degrees and have all been in bands. And so, of course, being the youngest brother, you have to emulate your older brothers. But
Absolutely.
so yes, I got into it very, very early and started writing songs, attempting to write songs as early as like 9 or 10.
Oh, wow.
But I didn't start playing music until, in earnest at least, until about 14 or 15. My grandmother had passed away. I inherited her piano organ that I still have.
Oh.
So that's what I kind of just taught myself how to play, and had people at different times showed me chords and all that stuff. So I've been playing consistently from 14 to 36.
Wow, 14 to 36. Wow, that's awesome. So when you all got together, how did you decide? It's like, yeah, Erica, what made you say, I think we could do this?
I don't know. It was like right around that same time I started to think a lot about death, and I was like, I have to do things that scare me, because otherwise what's the point of being alive? If I'm gonna die soon, I want to do things that I can say, oh my God, that scared the shit out of, oh, can I cuss? I'm sorry.
I mean,
that scared me a lot, but I overcame it and I did it. And so I just said, okay. And I told him, you just have to set up a show. You just have to do it, because if you do it, then it's going to force me to I have to do it. And so that's how we just set up our first show. Before we ever even like started really practicing, he just set it up, and it forced me to have to learn the songs and get ready to perform.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Yeah.
I was just going to say, so just to give a little bit of backstory. So I had been playing as Yikes A Band since 2012, solo. And basically it was me on stage with a computer playing my backing tracks and a keyboard on stage. So basically it was like advanced karaoke or something. Yeah. In that 3-year time, I had only played, I think, a show a year. I wasn't doing very much, but I was constantly writing the whole time, with the idea that eventually, hopefully, we would do it together. We would be in the car. I would hear her sing. I knew she could sing well. She's very quick to learn. If I show her, hey, this is what I'm working on, she picks it up immediately. So I knew you could do it. And yeah, it was like she said, it was just eventually like, all right, book one and we'll play it together. I was like, okay.
So you were familiar with booking like bands. That wasn't your first gig that you booked for Yikes A Band.
No, I see. I had been in bands since high school.
Got it.
We got together. I was in my third or fourth band that I had been in, and yeah, I immediately, you know, we were dating a very short amount of time. I was like, I'd love to do like a side project thing with you. And the band that I was in kind of dissolved within half a year after we got together. So immediately after that band was over, I just started putting all my creative energy into what would be our project.
Wow. So with Yikes A Band already being there and Erica with you joining, how did the synergy of the band or the style of the band change?
I don't think it really did a lot because we have very similar tastes and we have very similar ideas. And so a lot of times if we're like playing together, and we just like, you know, I'll be playing something and he'll be playing something and it just sounds like it was something that he would have written, you know, by himself. So
yeah, for sure.
Or like if I throw a harmony in that he hadn't thought of.
Right, that's what I was going to say. I think it's more like the vocal dynamic. Instead of it just being led by one person, then when we're constructing songs, we're like, okay, I'll sing this part and you come in here and vice versa, and like try to do it in creative, interesting ways, not do it the same way every time. That's probably, I think, the biggest change sound-wise was just our two voices together, which are funnily very similar. There's times where people don't know who's singing, which I think is very funny. But.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So if somebody were not to listen, because I know everybody's going to be listening to your music right after this, they're going to be clicking on links and all of that. But what would you say your style is? What genre is Yikes A Band?
So I always kind of categorize us in like this subgenre called noise pop. So it's basically like pop aesthetics, a lot of like 60s music or new wave music, a little bit of punk stuff. We've kind of moved away from the punk stuff. That's what all my old bands were.
Okay.
But yeah, noise pop is, for anyone who doesn't know, because it's kind of a weird subgenre, it's just like pop aesthetics with sort of intense, or how would you, like a aggressive sort of drum beats, or big loud things that you maybe wouldn't hear typically in your normal pop song. So it is those kind of punk and hardcore aesthetics, but they're in a melodic way instead of just super aggressive or something like that.
Wow. I don't think I've ever heard of that genre of music before.
I think it's pretty close. Another one that we get a lot, people that probably don't know the, you know, term noise pop. People will say that it reminds them of like new wave or British new wave, which I can see. Yeah, a lot of synthesizers, electronic drums. So yeah, I feel comfortable in that genre for sure.
Well, yeah, definitely. And you have there's a new song you have out now, right?
We have a whole new album.
The entire album. Yeah. Tell us about what the album is and why this album is.
Okay. The album is called Your Body Up Close / Wake the Animal. And it's basically was designed to be like if you had a vinyl version, which we are going to release eventually. It's basically like a double EP. Like each side is kind of its own thing, but it's all one whole pretentious, silly thing that I came up with. But yeah, we started recording that in May of last year.
Oh, wow.
And then finished by August, I think. And we were doing it. So we had recorded about maybe half of it at home at a studio that you're looking at right now. And then we got together with a friend of ours. His name is P.A. Halsey, Andrew Halsey. Okay. And he had been playing in bands that we were friends with. And so we were already good buddies with him. And I knew that he could do things production wise that we just couldn't. Like he had knowledge in those kind of things. And so I asked him, hey, and I think because there was the incentive that half of it was already done, that it wouldn't be wanting to ask him. And he immediately said yes. And he plays in sort of similar music, but really loves 80s new wave, and especially some of the more obscure stuff. And he was just able to bring all of this technical wizardry and actualize any idea that we had and bring really cool stuff to the table.
Okay. So how is this project different than, I guess, your previous project?
Well, when I was in other bands, it was more of a collaborative thing of, you've got maybe 4 or 5 members total, and everyone's bringing ideas to the table, and you're kind of carving out songs based on what everyone's bringing. This one is just, it's just the 2 of us, so it's just a little bit more focused. And yeah, all those bands I've been in before were very hardcore punk.
Got it.
And I was always trying to bring the melodic stuff into that.
Yeah.
And it worked. It was cool. It was a cool dynamic. But I knew that if I was going to make something on my own or make something with Erica, that I wanted to really lean heavily into the pop aesthetics that I love. So I'd say that, that's probably the major difference.
Yeah. Erica, what would you say is your favorite thing about this new project?
Gosh. I really loved recording because it was my first experience with it. Not as much the recording process physically, because that was very intimidating to be standing in a room with lots of other ears that can't hear the music and can only hear you whining very loudly. Yeah. That was terrifying. But hearing it come out and hearing the pieces come together, and then, like getting to hear it at first, and then after we adjusted this, and then after we got the songs back and we talked about, what do you think we should adjust? What do you think we should do? And we both put ideas on the table. Just that whole process was so cool. And it was something I've never been a part of before. And
she was a natural with that stuff. Like, we would, for not having ever done it, we would get the tracks back as they were being developed and produced over time. And we either had very similar notes, or she would think of something that I hadn't considered. And it was amazing. She was just right into place. It was great.
So I have to ask, with you all being together and also being, as it is, business together, how do you balance not getting on each other's nerves? Or do you?
Sure. I mean, we're married and we live together, so that's just natural. But we have amazing communication. We, if something is happening, it's worked out within a half hour. Like, we're very good at just don't go to bed angry, that kind of stuff. But there's really no maybe at different times, one of us might be more motivated to do music than the other, or let's get on this project, or work might be busy for somebody else and not for the other person. So that's maybe the only time you have that. But no, it's kind of the triangle thing where we have the same goal, we have the same ideas. So it's really not. Would you agree? I don't know.
You better. Not joking.
Yeah. Yes, I do.
That's so funny. One of the things that I just really enjoy about the 2 of you and your sound is that it's so unique. It's not every day that a couple does music together successfully and is able to kind of go through the throes of what do we do in the event of, as well as just move forward, being creative and being independent and, being individuals. I know in the music industry, a lot of times there's always a pull to kind of do what other people think is popular. How do you maintain your individuality and just kind of not fall into, say, well, let's go more pop because that may be seen as more acceptable? How do you maintain your individuality?
Well, I think part of it is she and I, we don't listen to a ton of what you would call current pop music. We're not really chasing any sort of trend as it's happening. You see that with music, in rap music, there's a lot of rap trends. Now everybody's doing this and you have to keep up with that. Pop music does the same thing. So I think by really, both of our tastes are very broad across decades of music and even classical music and all that sort of thing. So I think allowing yourself to be able to pull an idea or an influence from any place in time musically, opposed to just what's current, is going to make it sound unique inherently. And if you're honest and your lyrics are honest, and that's really what it is for me. It's just being as honest as possible, either in the approach to song construction or lyrically. And then you can't help but just be yourself. It's a cool byproduct.
Yeah, no, I love that. You know, authenticity is just like, you know, just be yourself and there you go. You know, if it comes out, it comes out. And if I'm honest, it's on the paper. You know, now Erica, it's on the track and you're in that room singing that honest lyric in front of a whole bunch of people. I know the feeling. That can be absolutely terrifying. It's like, can y'all step out, please?
Yeah.
Can anybody get out of here? So we do music in your when you're not doing music. Erica, and I'll ask you first. When you're not doing music, what are you doing?
Well, I really love photography. Just goofing off, but really, really love it. I really love it. I have a passion for it and I wish I did more with it. I get annoyed at myself. Also, we have 3 children, so I spend a lot of time with them. And I know I said me, but I'm going to speak for the both of us. We're super big movie fans. And so we watch a lot of movies and discuss a lot of movies, and we're just big nerds.
Caleab, when you're not creating and, you know, yiking it up, what are you doing?
Well, spending time with our kids, doing family-oriented things. But I have a lot of interests. I wish I was as good a photographer as her, but I do like taking pictures. But I also draw and just write like narrative stuff. I'm writing like hopefully what'll be a screenplay that I can eventually produce. So I do have a lot of other interests, which helps not get burned out on a project. You know, you're like, I'm not feeling Yikes right now. Then I can write this or do that. And I found a way to when I need to buckle down, I can. It used to be kind of a problem because I would be like, well, I'm kind of interested in this now. And so I would abandon some project. But over the course of the last couple of years, especially like during the pandemic, that gave us a lot of extra time. So it's just, I'm just going to focus. Like, I hate to say it, but if that pandemic didn't happen or quarantine didn't happen, we might not have had the, it was the desire to want to get out of that and not be stuck. That was like, okay, we're doing this album now. We've had these songs for a few years. Some of them we have been sitting on for a really long time. So it was like, let's get this out. And just so it's done. And then also just so we can write new stuff, move on.
Is your hope for your music, for both of you, is your hope that it becomes, and it could be, I might just be making this up, but is your hope that it becomes the main thing that you do? Do you want it to kind of be that financial thing that's like, that's all we're doing is music, and that's what drives, you know, our family, that just drives our business, that's just kind of it? Is that what your hope is for your music? And if not, what is?
I would.
That would be a dream.
No, I wouldn't. But it was. No, I've always said that if you can sustain living doing what you actually want to do and being creative, then that's success. Like, you don't have to make all the money in the world. You don't have to. Yeah, if this could literally just be what we do, is just, even if that also involved her photography or my writing as well, any of those things, it's all kind of the same thing to you. And it is going to sound pretentious or whatever, but like, we just want to be artists. That's
yeah. And
so music is a huge part of that, and right now is a major focus. But yeah, if that's all we're doing for an occupation with playing music, we would be extremely happy. That would be awesome.
Where do you find locations to, I guess, gig? Where do you find the venues to have your shows?
Do you want to answer them?
A lot of times, if we're just feeling the itch to play out, sometimes I'll just like make a social media post and say, hey, we're looking to play some show. Does anybody have anything coming up that they want to play with us or whatever? But a lot of times we'll have people contact us.
Yeah, bands that are maybe sort of similar or similar enough will say, hey, would you like to join the bill? There's probably already 2 or 3 bands at that point already on it. We play this thing called Lady Fest in downtown Dayton. It's awesome. It's amazing. And every band or artist, the only requirement is that there is a woman in the group. And that's probably one of our favorite things to do throughout the year. It's always an amazing turnout and everyone's there for a cool, positive reason. But yeah, a lot of times it is people asking us to join a bill, but that's also why we don't play as much as other bands throughout the year, because we kind of, unfortunately, most of the time, the opportunities when they come to us, that's when we take it. So hopefully now that we have this album and it's out and finished, we'll be a little bit more motivated to start booking more.
Yes. For your album that's out now, when people hear it, what do you want their takeaway to be?
Well, I hope they like it. But yeah, what do I want the takeaway to be? I hope that whatever our intentions were is what comes through, but that's art, whatever anybody gets out of it is, as long as it's meaningful to them, that's awesome. I don't know, what about you?
Honestly, just having people enjoy it. That's really cool to hear. I had somebody at work that I don't think he even knew I played in a band, and a coworker had showed him my song and he was just like freaked out. He was like, I bought the album. It's amazing. I'm just like, it's just so nice to hear. It's always so nice to hear. Never gets old.
No.
Yeah. When right before this interview, I listened to the newest song and I just absolutely loved it. I enjoyed the whole concept, and the track was sort of hypnotic. When you're creating and you're putting something down either to the track or you're doing the treatment, say, of the video, are you very intentional? And it's like, okay, when I wrote this song or when I was singing this song, this is what I'm envisioning? Or do you let like the creative element of whoever's doing videography or anything like that just kind of take over, and whatever comes out, comes out?
Well, in the case of this specific song, Friendship on a Train, that we have our first real music video for, most of that was shot by us. And then if we weren't shooting it and it's footage of us, it's our friend Victor. I think that's almost 99% of it is either us or Victor. In the case of that one's kind of interesting because the beginning of that song, or the genesis of that song, actually came from, we had gone on a trip with another family. They have a daughter the same age as our youngest daughter. And at one point in time, we were on this train ride and we were like, this is beautiful. And we were filming on it. And when I got home, I had a little snippet of some song that I had started, just an idea. Usually it just starts with a couple chords or something like that. And I wanted to cut this footage together and see what it looked like. So the original initial thing was only like 30 seconds long of this music that was cut to that footage of us on a train. And like we said, we're big movie fans. So there's the Alfred Hitchcock movie, Strangers on a Train. So I was like, oh, that'd be funny if there's Friendship on a Train. And then once that title just kind of came as like literally what it is, Friends on a Train, I was like, oh, that might be that might be what this song should be about. And so it kind of weird, snaking its own tail sort of thing. It just kind of inspired itself in a weird loop.
Wow. Yeah. I loved it. It was so unique. Well, it is, so unique and so different. I love the black and white of it. It's like a romantically eerie kind of vibe.
Yeah.
I write that down, romantically eerie.
I can see that.
I like that.
Well, the black and white is funny too, because aesthetically it looks cool. Like, I love black and white, and we both love black and white. But part of that also was because all of the, all of the different things and different elements and different shots from that are from stuff that we shot all over a span of years. So the black and white is cool because it kind of helps you color correct to make everything look the same. The lighting in one place might affect the color in one way or whatever. So by doing it black and white, it kind of unifies all of the stuff, even though one is maybe 5 years older than the other shot, but they're back to back. You can't really tell. And then when the title Yikes A Band comes up, that's in like color. And then when it finally says the name of the song, Friendship on a Train, towards the end, that part's in color. So then it kind of just breaks it up and gives you this kind of weird, like you were saying, eeriness.
Yeah.
Eerie. That it's like I love there's another subgenre that we're kind of influenced by called like dream pop, where it's a lot of reverb, a lot of echoey, like beautiful chords and stuff. And I just love that idea of just like that weird dream imagery. And I think that's what the video has, that with those weird pop-in titles like that.
Well, I appreciate you both for being here and sharing your life and, how you got to where you are and, your passion to do what you do and balance everything. Erica, I'm going to give you one of the last words. If somebody's just out there and they're thinking of following their dreams, but they just don't know if they can do it, what would you say to them?
Just do it. It sounds so simple, but like anything creative is not about being good. It's about doing it and like just having fun and enjoying it and being filled with that feeling that you only get by being creative. It doesn't matter. Like, just do it. Enjoy yourself, and maybe you'll be amazing, and maybe you'll just do it in your bedroom by yourself. But
you'll feel better. It's cathartic.
Yeah.
And you're always, no matter what you're doing creatively, you're rolling the ball forward. It was something that didn't exist before, now exists, and no one can take that away. Like you did the thing. So yeah, I agree with you. Just do it.
Just do it. Well, thanks for being here. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Not
Phillip.
a problem. And it was wonderful. Thank you for inviting us.
Absolutely. So that's Yikes A Band, Caleab and Erica. Make sure you subscribe to their channels, follow them on social media, and just boil it down to, you can do whatever you put your mind to, but you have to just do it. You just have to start. You just have to start. You have everything that you need. Just get it done. As usual, remember that you are the best you in the world. We will see you next time here on The PHILLIP Show.